Oh my goodness. Today. Yeah, so that's what happens when I'm sick. So we just are gonna have bunches of spaces and we're gonna have fun with it today because it is Kat's birthday. Before I even do the welcome, I just want to sing happy birthday in my nasally voice. I have a little sign. I put on my little party hat. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kat. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, welcome to another Relatively Damaged episode. This is Relatively Damaged Live, and my name is Angela.
And I'm Kat.
The live shows are currently streamed on Mondays to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Remember to follow or subscribe and share with your friends. On the Monday segment of the show, Kat and I discuss topics we find interesting for about 30 minutes. So let's get to today's topic, which is Kat's birthday surprise topic, which is owning our story. Okay, so I have been reading The Way of the Bodhisattva, and we found some quotes that we think are, well, I found some quotes that I thought were interesting that had to do with a quote that that's spoken in more English by Kat. So I believe this is all in chapter 9 of The Way of the Bodhisattva. Verse 44 says, "The true monk is the root of Dharma, which is just the nature of reality. And to be a monk is difficult indeed. It is hard for minds enmeshed in thoughts to pass beyond the bonds of suffering." The next verse is 48, says, "The mind that has not realized voidness may be halted, but will once again arise, just as from a non-perceptual absorption. Therefore, one must train in emptiness." And then verse 56 says, "If such a thing as I exists indeed, then terrors granted will torment it. But since no self or I exists at all, what is there left for fears to terrify?" And this, I just put in here because you had an amazing quote.
Yes, this is from someone we both love very much, Brene Brown. "Owning our story can be hard, but not nearly as difficult as spending our lives running from it. Embracing our vulnerabilities is risky, but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy, the experiences that make us the most vulnerable. Only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light."
Isn't that the truth?
Oh yeah, that quote just really hit me, and I'm gonna put it back up again so I've got it. And I was thinking about that is, when do I find the most joy? And it tends to be in those most vulnerable moments.
When
Other
you're
things
opening.
are fleeting. Yeah. Um, you know, all right, I was thinking like this. Little children go and they will dance and sing and they don't care. They have no conception. The other night, we went out to the Illumination, which is a light show that they put on at the Morton Arboretum. Little plug for them. One of my favorite places. But anyway, it's a beautiful light show in the trees. And I was being like a little kid. And I think that made me enjoy it all the more. We were hearing conversations from adults, and they're like, "Oh, that's that's all this is, or anything." And it was having that wonder and having that vulnerability to be childlike. I don't have to be an adult. I can enjoy this with that light instead
Mm-hmm.
of the heaviness of being an adult and adulting.
So
Just be
you're
vulnerable and dance around and be stupid, but it was fun.
that's where I was trying to figure out where I was trying to figure out where you got so you became vulnerable and you had fun, and because you were vulnerable, then you were able to enjoy it at a higher level.
Yeah, in a purer level, I think.
Okay.
So when enjoying it, it's yes, my mind is like wants to know how they did it, how they coordinated the music and the lights and made the lights dance, and how they made an illusion as if the trees were breathing and all that kind of stuff. But instead of allowing that thought to go there, I was just like, just enjoy the wonder of it and be like, wow.
Were you walking around that day like just in awe at all of it?
Yeah, and this is not the first time I've gone. I've gone, before, but I think, like your little sign says, stay curious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it
So,
wasn't the curiosity of knowing; it was the curiosity of living in the experience.
oh, like what's going to happen if I just enjoy this for what it is and express myself the way I really want to express myself?
Exactly.
Oh, and so was that a little scary at first? Did you have to, because in this quote it says only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness. So I'm trying to figure out if there was some darkness there for you.
Well, the darkness for me in that instance was, what are other people going to think of me? You
Mm-hmm.
know, being a big old giant kid laughing and dancing around and just like, come on, ooh, 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 look at this, look at this. It was living in that moment, like I said, that I was childlike. And so children don't think about, well, what is somebody going to think about if I, you know, just dance because I want to,
Yeah.
or twirl around because I want to. They just do it because it gives them joy. So the darkness for me was the thought process, like, what are people going to think of me? You know, are they going to make fun of me? Are they going to, say, look at that, grown ass woman being a dork, it was more of just being myself and enjoying that.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Trevor.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Trevor.
So for our watchers today, just so you know, I am not feeling well. This is weird. Kat and I were talking earlier today about the benefits of COVID. Because I would not be if we had to meet in person, I would not be there today. I don't have COVID, but you just being sick, you can't get together with anybody, which is fine by me. Less hopefully going around nowadays, right?
Right. Well, that
Anyway,
and
I know that
2,000
was a
miles between
sidetrack.
us.
Yeah, there are the 2,000 miles between us. But oh, thank you, Jan, thank you. But I think it's hard to own the story, even like making a choice sometimes, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, especially like I don't know if this is normal for other families, but it's like I didn't sometimes not wanting to be responsible for the decision, even though it was clearly what I wanted and what I chose, and then being like, oh, but no, and I started thinking about that, like just owning that it was my choice. I had to
Mhm.
my I had someone want to bring a guest to Christmas this weekend, and the answer was no. Like, so there I was walking through that darkness of how do I say no and say it nicely, and just it is no, and not have to justify it and not have to explain. And for me that always takes courage to say no to someone. But, there's also, and I think sometimes it takes more courage, especially when there's those people in our lives that don't allow room for no. And
Mm.
then it's with those that we can't do anything right, like, because there's not a cooperation, there's not a negotiation, there's nothing. It's just my way or the highway. And that's also hard too. So it takes even more courage there.
Well, yeah, and that's where I think finding that light, finding your own light,
Mm-hmm.
um, is there. Brave enough to explore the darkness. So you could live in the darkness that you have, i.e., well, I'm going to say yes because I want to make people happy. I care about what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
And
Perfect comment
yeah,
time.
yeah. And but instead you had to speak your own truth.
Uh-huh.
Find that light, as each of us have to find our own light.
Yeah. And then just owning it. Like, because I didn't have to justify, argue, explain away, all of those things. It was just, I get it. And I was able to be more compassionate because I understood the pain on the other end of the conversation of not, of the answer being no. And so then I
Right.
could deliver that no with compassion instead of, no, I said it was no, because it's so easy to just lose peace in those conversations.
Exactly. And and here, here it is that, all right, only when we are brave enough to explore the darkness will we discover the infinite power of our light. Where do we see that darkness? In ourselves, in our relationships with others.
Mm-hmm.
And how does that manifest itself? And if we explore that, why do I react this way? Why do I react that way? um, and really, really look at it, not just blame the other person, because a lot of times this stuff comes in relationships. You know, well, you could have taken the invitation of having to say no to the invitation, and you could have, stayed in that dark place, like you said, and no, because I said no.
Right.
But instead you chose to find, you understood why you had to say no, and found that light, that place of compassion, and was able to express that. And it's up to the other person as to whether or not they want to accept it or not. But
Yeah.
that's not on us. It's us finding our own vulnerabilities. The vulnerability of, well, what are they going to think of me if I say no?
Yeah.
What are they going to think of me if I dance around like a child? It's all. I mean, it's from it can run the gamut.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
So
that's interesting what you're saying, because I think it's here. It's this world here. I don't know, for those, spoiler alert, because I saw the new Matrix, but it really points to the world we create is in here. It's not out here. Yes, are those things that happen out here, but like, how much of it is inside of me, and how much of it is when something triggers me, how much is it that I have something I need to work on, or I'm feeling guilty about something. So that's me being vulnerable, is saying I'm feeling guilty, or I'm me just even recognizing it in myself and going, that's okay, I still don't need to give that to them. Like having the guest over, right? Because I knew what it meant, but it also, how come it was I felt guilty for my choice, right? And that gets into some deeper things. Hey, Ashley and Lisa Joe. Oh, hi, Lisa Joe. Let's see, we've got a note from Lisa Joe. She says, love the feathers. It's Kat's birthday. And then Ashley sent us a note. She says, not having to justify to others our no's would make it easier to have confidence in that response rather than questioning if I made the right choice. I
Mm,
think that's a lot of what we're talking about is that confidence that happens inside of us.
right.
And but I think we have to be vulnerable to get there, because it's like
We do.
embracing our vulnerabilities is risky but not nearly as dangerous as giving up on love and belonging and joy. I mean, whew.
So, so let's take another kind of example. I had seen my family for the first time, my sisters and their families for the first time in 2 years, and um, there was part of me that I had to recognize in myself the wanting to notice how everybody changed in those 2 years
Mm,
and comment on that instead of just being in the moment and loving that. And I had to let that go. I had to let go of that judgment that I had and that mentality that I had and just enjoy being together
mm,
and enjoy them for the people they are, not because one lost weight, one gained weight, the kids grew 10 inches, it seems like, in 2 years. um, it just to enjoy and to
mm-hmm,
get out of that dark place is where we have that judgment, the judgment of ourselves, the judgment of others,
mm-hmm,
and to get out of that place, which I call the darkness or the void. I forgot what it said in the Bhagavad Gita, um, but to be in that place where of light, of just saying we're here, we're together, we're celebrating,
mm-hmm.
and just enjoy that.
Yeah, because I think at those family gatherings, nothing goes exactly as planned anyway, right? Like,
Exactly.
and there, I have no control over other people, or and all that I can do. Wow, I can't talk today. is is be aware of who I want to be, and I think that is a struggle too. Who do I want to be in this moment? Like you're saying, stay in the present. So, like, with it, because it sounds like it would have been really easy to gossip too.
Oh yeah. We could have all gone in one corner and gossiped about the other, and no,
So
it
how do
was
you
just.
stay away from the gossip though? How did you bring yourself back to present?
Well, I always ask myself, who is it that I want to be? Do what is the point of gossip? And gossiping to me is bring it back to this quote, a darkness place. It's saying, it's making comparisons of people. And what I want to be is the person who comes from love and interacts with you in a loving way and in a light. I want to be that light. I want to be that love.
Mm-hmm.
And so I choose not to go there. It's a conscious choice. It's a fight. It's a struggle to
Trevor just says you got to
yes,
just stay away.
from people or from the darkness, the gossip. I'll stay away from the gossip. I like people too much.
Yeah, I think
um,
that's actually hard though, right? Like now that you're saying that, I'm going to go around the people. I'm going to knowingly know they gossip, and they, where I'm going with this, I think a little bit, maybe. And he's talking about the gossip. Uh, but and it's hard not to engage or not to be like, you shouldn't be gossiping. Like that's me.
it's it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard, but again, it comes down to me. What other people think of me is none of my business.
Right.
So if people want to gossip, they're going to gossip. If and that's on them.
Yeah.
I'm making an effort to stay away from the gossip.
You'll have to excuse me. I've got a sick child. She's got to show me her temperature.
I was
It
wondering what
was
that beeping
104.
was.
Huh?
104, and then it started going down.
Okay. Yeah, that's good if it comes down.
Okay.
Okay. I don't think she realizes what time it is. Oh, poor thing.
That's okay. She didn't realize we were live, but that's okay.
No.
She can come on and say hi anytime, or just report on her temperature if she needs.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was that's for me. We just had family here yesterday. So I had to be vulnerable and send a text this morning that people weren't feeling good to everyone, to the family that was here, and
Yeah,
it's, that's a vulnerable, because who wants to make that call? Wow. I don't like sending those texts. It's like, man, if I just didn't have to.
right. But again, if we're coming from love, then we have to let people know, because if they get sick, they at least know where it was from.
Right. Yeah. And it's just nowadays with COVID and everything. So like those dark places gosh, it sure seems to me like we have those dark places way more often
Oh yeah,
nowadays. Like that's created so much darkness around vaccines or just politics. There's so much out there that creates that darkness. So how do we stay in the light, you know, even in this moment?
yeah. I can only speak to myself and what I try and do. And with regards to those contentious subjects, I have my opinion. You have the right to your opinion. I may disagree with you, but I'm going to make decisions for myself based on how I choose to live my life.
Yeah.
What is best for me, and other people have to make those choices. What's best for them, and that's really all I can do. Um, I don't think it serves anybody to go into those places of gossip, of criticizing others, for the choices that they make, for making fun of them. Um, it doesn't do any point. Stick to productive dialogue. Stick to being loving. That's the
Or we
most
can, yeah, because we can debate it. You and I have disagreed on topics before,
right.
and I see that smile coming. Um, and we're friends because it's okay. We don't have to be the same. But
Right.
that's also that vulnerability that I'm going to share what I'm going to share a part of who I am and trust that it's okay that you're not going to be like, well, you're sick, bad, and wrong, and you're this horrible person because of X, Y, or Z.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is that you have to, I have to be able to say, I love you. I could disagree with you. We could have a difference of opinion on things, but the important thing is that I love you. I'm saying this to you. I'm saying this to my family, whatever, and my friends, and that's okay. We can disagree.
Yeah.
We have to have that respect. We have to have that love, that understanding. You're different than me. You think we may have differences of opinion, but it's all okay.
Yeah.
It's that darkness where people are getting depressed, and because of this, I think because this constant contentiousness that
Mm-hmm.
we're all having, and
So
the
everyone having
contentiousness
to be
within.
like right or wrong.
Yes,
There's so
yes.
the bipolar
Well, almost.
answer.
Well, even take it within yourself. Take your own inner dialogue, almost, and you know, in that place where the dark. Oh, I'm so depressed. And well, yeah, it's because, well, it's winter and there's not a lot of daylight and I'm stuck inside all day and doing this. If you're saying that kind of self-reinforcing thing, you're not going to have peace, you're not going to have joy, you're not going to have love. You're going to wallow in that depression, you're going to wallow in that darkness.
Okay,
Did
so
you
kind of
say
like getting stuck in your crap.
exactly?
Okay.
So by going through that darkness and understanding what it is, well, yes, we have to spend more time indoors because it's cold outside. Yes, the days are shorter. There's not as much daylight. We can't go out as much. Um, but saying, okay, accepting that and saying, what can I do? Where can I find the wonder? Where can I find the joy? Like we talked earlier about finding the joy in COVID. I mean, if we probably wouldn't have met, but virtual communities allowed us to meet, allowed a space for us to meet, and it was largely because of COVID.
Yeah.
And
Trevor's got a tip for us. He says, tell yourself positive things.
Right. I mean, and that's what I think the gist of the Brene Brown quote is the more light there is, the less there is for darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think so too. We have to go through. Sometimes we have to walk through that shadow. What's the saying? There's a saying: walk through the shadow.
The dark night of the soul.
Well, there's the dark night of the soul, but gosh darn it, I think it's a poem. But that, like, we have to walk through that, and to get to the other side. Like, I don't want to get into where we're ignoring those feelings of pain and suffering, like instead learning to embrace them and love through walk through the valley. Trevor's trying to help me out, but I don't understand
the Psalm 23.
Probably.
When I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
There we go. That's the one I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like I just have to go through there. And it's like, sometimes am I, there's always that concern, am I getting stuck there? But from my experience has been, I'm not getting stuck there when I'm experiencing it. Like, I literally need to feel those feelings so that I can get to the light. But I have to, it's like, you think there's going to be these terrorizing hell dogs there, right? As you're walking through this, and they're just statues.
Right.
They don't do anything.
Well, and I think that's where it comes in, embracing that place and realizing that it is not permanent. You can find the light. The light is within. We just may have to go through that walk in those dark places. I mean, people lose jobs, they lose family, they've lost homes, going through those kinds of things, divorce, death, whatever. You go through that and you go through those troubles and those struggles. And in the moment, it's a dark place. Yeah. And you question yourself, am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? And the answer is, yes, you are. We all are. We just have to find that light within ourselves that already exists. And that's that love and the joy. And go through the dark place. The joy, the love, the light is on the other side.
It really is. That's it's so perfect. Almost so perfect to end on that. I'm just going to throw out there the little quantum physics, right? That the light exists. So if we go down deep, drill down deep enough, we only see light anyway. So it's there. So if we have to go at it from that angle, the light already exists. But man, what a great conversation for your birthday.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I do think that the light that we have within is a true gift that we all have. And I was reminded of that this morning. So not only was this topic perfect, but that reminder.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Kat.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, even though you're sick. I appreciate
No
it.
problem. I wouldn't miss it. Okay, so there's also a Relatively Damaged podcast where I interview amazing guests who have overcome some sort of struggle in their lives and how they found hope and healing. You can find the podcast on Spotify, Apple, and many more. I'm Angela.
And I'm Kat. I got it right.
We'll see you next week.